So in today's video, I'm going to be touching base on the 5 primary reasons that I believe home gyms are about to explode in popularity post-lockdown. It might seem absolutely crazy, but consider a few things for a brief moment. If you're someone who is an avid gym goer, if you take your training seriously, then I imagine in the past 5 months, you've tried, maybe succeeded, but you've at least tried to get your hands on some workout equipment. Let me ask you, how was that experience for you? Probably dismal, at best frustrating for many. And the reason why, if you even could find any available equipment, which was the initial hurdle to get over, whatever equipment you may have found was likely price inflated and had excessive shipping times on it. So much so that some people were getting 2-week ETAs only to find out 4 months later it arrived on their front porch, or 4.5 months later they got an email that said, yeah, by the way, we're going to refund you because we still haven't had this produced and we don't even know when it's going to arrive, if even this calendar year. Further, individuals who went the private route and tried to get their hands on used equipment often found that the cost of the used equipment was even higher than the cost of brand new equipment, often because they could get it immediately. It was already produced, it was already there for the taking. So reflecting on the past 5 months and the chaos of the fitness equipment industry coupled with the uncertain landscape of the gym industry, it's really got me thinking about what the future is going to look like, not only in consideration of the business end of things, but further trying to look at it through the lens of the consumer. What are the people going to want moving forward, or what are they going to prefer? So before we get too deep into these 5 reasons and my rationale behind them, I would really appreciate it if you would take the time to comment and let me know, are your workouts going to be done at home or at the gym moving forward? And further, what you think the majority of people are going to be doing, or what you project will see a shift relative to as people now have the option between either going back to the gym or continuing to train from home. So the first reason that I believe home gyms are going to boom in popularity is because people are going to be generally uncomfortable. Returning. And this may seem absolutely crazy to you. If you're somebody who feels fine going back, you have no worries whatsoever, but consider this, there's 2 types of people that are going to fall into this category. First, people that are worried for themselves, for their own health. That's a pretty big chunk of the gym going population. I can consider that a large portion of my own clientele is what would be considered the at-risk group. Understanding that, not only are people going to feel nervous for themselves, I can confirm that a lot of people are nervous for others, people in their immediate social circle, loved ones, friends, family members who are at risk. A lot of people haven't considered that this is going to be a contributing factor because a lot of people feel guilty. If you have your social circle of 10 individuals and 2 of them fall into that at-risk category, a lot of people will feel selfish going back to the gym to work out, knowing that they personally could be contributing to an increased risk of those more at-risk individuals getting sick. Understanding this, it makes sense that at least for the foreseeable future, a lot of people will not want to return to the traditional gym setting. Well, many of them have already started to invest into workout equipment that they can have at home. And it's not necessarily an extensive setup, but they've started setting that base foundation, especially if they're people who take their training seriously. Further, they're already aware from day one that those people are at risk, and they've probably been future thinking. Well, I'm likely not going to go on day 1, I'm likely going to wait until 2021 or until there's a vaccine or whatever their mindset might be. And so as a byproduct, they've already started collecting the training equipment they're going to require to maintain their regimen, or to at least continue to work out in a way that they deem to be effective at home. Now consider, even once these people feel comfortable to then return, whether it's for them or their immediate social circle, they've invested how much money into home workout equipment? That, in and of itself, might just sway them to stay the course. Well, I've been working out from home for a year. I've made do. I've spent thousands of dollars on my home gym setup. Now I'll just add a piece here or there as I need it. You know, a Christmas gift to myself, a birthday gift to myself, a just because gift to myself. And they'll continue to expand upon that base foundation, often not returning, ever. Seems crazy, but there's a lot of it. The second group of people is going to be a combination of these people as well as individuals who just have been stuck training at home through lockdown and found that they have a preference for training at home. They prefer it. They like it. They found it to be effective. There's no distractions. They don't have to wait for equipment. There's no sweaty, loud, obnoxious people around them. Maybe they had never considered setting up a home gym until they were forced to. Maybe they renovated an unfinished basement and realized that, hey, this was originally going to become a living room. Now it's a lifting room. The garage got decluttered and turned into a garage gym. They really like that setup. Kind of set a fire underneath people to do something that they had kind of considered doing but never got around to it. And now they found they like it. They can turn their tunes up as loud as they want. They can make the iron clang and bang. Nobody's there to piss them off. The 35-pound dumbbells are never missing. Whatever it might be, people have developed a preference. And of course, similar to this group here, whatever they've invested into their home gym setups over the past 5 months is something that they consider valuable. And if they have found their training to be effective or more effective than they expected it to be, it might just be worth their while to continue investing into that foundation of equipment that they've built up and stay the course that way. Now, a lesser considered reason is going to be increased membership fees. A lot of gyms are going to have to limit their capacity. Well, basic economics, in order to continue to profit, considering their capacity is limited and they're spending so much more money on PPE and general cleaning supplies and as well as labor to maintain these new cleaning protocols and whatever scheduling software they have to use that they may not have been using before. Regardless, there's increased costs in operating their business now. Not to mention, a lot of them want to recoup the money that they've lost over the past 5 months, and understandably so. I may be a little bit biased as a gym owner, but that wasn't fun. That hurt. So, knowing as much, whether it's a byproduct of limited capacity, increased operating costs, or desire to recoup lost revenue, or all of the above, the reality is you are going to see an increase in membership coaching costs. So that $50 membership could potentially become $79, depending, of course, on where you live and the operators of the business itself. Now, $50 membership might become $100. That group class you used to get for $5 drop-in might no longer be drop-in, might be $15 because they can only operate at a third capacity, and you might have to commit to an entire month or 3-month package at a time. There's going to be changes, and for some people, those changes are either not going to be a cost they want to incur, and so they will cancel and work out with whatever means they have access to at home. Others, this will actually push them into this category, or something similar to this category, where they prefer working out at home because now they can rationalize, well, if I'm going to spend $1,500 a year at a gym because of my, $80 a month membership and the extra amenities that I pay for in consideration of group classes and what may be, then you know what, I'm just going to spend that money on equipment, and I'm going to put a lump sum of it together. It'll pay itself off in 5 years, but that equipment will always be mine, and I can add pieces to it as I go. And or I've bought all this equipment already in lockdown, and now they're going to charge me more, and I don't want to pay for that, so I'm just going to use that monthly fee I normally would have used and continue to add on to the equipment that I've collected through the past 5 months. Regardless, a lot of people aren't going to be very happy about this. Fair, but also understandable why this is going to occur. Now, another thing. A lot of people think that there's a potential for a second round of lockdown. In fact, we've already seen it start to occur. Not only is the second wave scaring people, but they wonder, are these type of situations that might become more frequent? Something that we should grow to expect. And if that's the case, then we're regularly going to see training facilities locked down and restaurants locked down and similar businesses and social settings. Might it be worth it to have a home gym set up to focus on our training entirely, and or simply having a basic setup available where even though that might not be our primary training spot, we have it available should something along these lines occur again. That way we're not stuck in a situation where we can't train effectively for 5 months, and or we're stuck trying to grab equipment and we're paying 4x the price and waiting 2 months for it to show up or 4 months for it to show up. They might start collecting now. And further, they might start using it more because they're investing that money into it. So a lot of people are thinking, or future thinking individuals, and they're considering that round 2 might be a reality, and if it's not, these sort of situations could definitely present themselves in the future. And if that's the case, they don't want to be without their workouts, because their workouts are something they look forward to. They're a staple in their life. They make them feel good mentally and physically. Their physical health is of course important to them, and it's important in general relative to events just like this. So investing in a home gym will become a top priority for those individuals as well. And of course understand that there's going to be a lot of overlap here. There is going to be people who are uncomfortable going back, who have a preference to train at home, who also are not impressed with the increased membership cost and are worried about this. And so just in general, everything is a contributing factor for them, and they are done and they are training from home for the foreseeable future, likely forever. And then another factor that I do believe is going to push the popularity of home gyms is going to be scheduling restrictions. Dun dun dun. In fact, this one, I believe, is going to be the biggest pain point in the younger generations specifically. Considering how frustrating it's going to be if you have to schedule your time to go to the gym and you can't fit it into your schedule because the time you like to go around your schedule is also the time the majority of people like to go. Therefore, they can't get in at 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m., 7 p.m. So either you have to shift your entire lifestyle, so now you wake up earlier, but maybe that's not even reasonable. Maybe you start your day at 6 a.m. and the gym itself isn't even open till 5, and so you can't get into the gym and get an effective workout in. Circumstances are going to be frustrating for people. Schedules are going to be frustrating for people. Not just that, but consider not everybody likes to work out in under an hour. Well, if your gym is saying, hey, it's an hour workout, it's in, it's out. Well, that doesn't work for a lot of people. What if you take 20 minutes to warm up? Are you supposed to warm up at home and then go in? Possibly. Do you have to squeeze your workout down? Maybe you don't find your training is as effective anymore. Maybe you just don't like training in only 60 minutes, or maybe you can do it sometimes, but you get frustrated by the fact that your workout is now 72 minutes and you got to cut it 11 minutes short and you didn't finish what you showed up to finish, and that starts to weigh on you psychologically because you feel like you're not getting everything done that you're supposed to and you're not progressing at the rate that you would want to. Further, what if you're capped on days per week? What then? Well, you can only show up at this gym 3 days a week. We have to consider other clients. Well, that works really well if you're doing an upper body, lower body split 4 times a week. That doesn't work well at all if you're doing, and that was sarcastic, it doesn't work well. It doesn't work well at all either if you're trying to do a push-pull legs with a rest. It doesn't work well if you're doing a bro split, chest and back, shoulders, legs, arms, abs, etc. It just isn't conducive to a lot of people's schedules. Not to mention, what happens if you have that 7-day rotation and you cannot schedule in a desired time because you missed it? Maybe the 7-day schedule out, you get on the next day to book your Monday 2 p.m. only to find that by the time you got on, it's long gone and now you can't get in until Tuesday. It's going to be frustrating for a lot of people, so much so that I guarantee you if they take their training seriously, as painful as it might be for some people financially, they're going to put that money up or go into debt to a degree to start setting up a home gym, whether it's in their garage or basement, their living become lifting room, what may be, they're gonna start prioritizing that, at least in the short term, so that long term they can transition out of the gym setting entirely, or so that they have that to fall back on so they can still train effectively should any of these frustrating scheduling restrictions throw a wrench in what their initial plan was. So these are the 5 primary reasons why I believe that home gyms are about to explode in popularity. Either because people are generally uncomfortable going back for themselves, or for people in their immediate social circles, people developed a preference for training at home, whether it was because they already had a base setup and they just fell in love with it as they invested into more equipment, or they realized how much they invested and they said, you know what, I need to get my money's worth here, I'm staying at home. People are going to realize that there's increased fees, and maybe they don't understand what the point of paying all that money would be if they could invest that money into their own setup and not risk losing access to it in the future. Further, talking about losing access to it in the future, a lot of people are worried that that might actually be a reality, maybe not just a second round for this in particular, but potentially a situation that could occur with a greater degree of frequency moving forward. And of course, scheduling restrictions are going to frustrate people like crazy. If there's anything you'd like to add to this list, let me know in the comments. If there's another reason you've heard or that you are considering yourself as to why you don't want to return, I want to hear it. And further, let me know. What do you think is going to happen? Are people going to rush back to the gyms on day one? Or are people going to start to think a little bit differently? What are you hearing from your friends? What are you deciding to do? What are your family members saying? What are your coworkers saying? I'm curious. I want to know what you think about the future of home gyms. If you found this video to be interesting, informative in any way whatsoever, please take a moment, follow or subscribe, depending of course on what social media platform you're seeing this on. And as per usual, if you have any specific questions, whether they're training, nutrition, lifestyle related, or topics just like this that you'd like me to go into more depth on, let me know. Shoot me a DM, drop me a comment, get in touch. And if I can cover it, you can expect it to be in an upcoming piece of content.